everybody, Joe Joseph here, and this is the DailySheeple.com's News Shot. Wall Street Journal has a post, have consumers decided most news is fake news? Duh. It's interesting that the Wall Street Journal even has to pose this question, considering how much the mainstream media has been called out, not just by independent media, but by everybody. Some of the latest polls show that trust in the mainstream media actually rivals trust in Congress, which is an absolute abysmal number. It says here, skepticism towards the media is often associated with conservatives in middle America, some of whom eat something other than artesian sandwiches. But this week brings more evidence that investors worldwide have become very reluctant to buy what many establishment news organizations are selling. How else to explain the collective shrug of the shoulders in the financial markets to the latest breathless media reports about the alleged collusion between the 2016 Trump campaign and Russia? Let me stop there. It's because people, the American people, understand, even those that might align themselves with, say, Democrats or the left, even they understand that this is all bunk. You know, it's interesting to see the dying, the terminal mainstream media continue to push these narratives desperately. I mean, just totally and completely desperately to try and gain some sort of foothold or maintain whatever illusion of control they think they still have, because they don't. It's an absolute, it's not even an illusion anymore. And people just don't buy into their stuff. It's horrible. How many more examples do we need to show or highlight of the mainstream media fabricating stories, fabricating scenes? I mean, it's the most, it has to, the corruption and the lies have to rival Congress. Hence the reason why, again, their approval ratings are just at all-time lows. It says such reports have dominated this week's news as much of the professional commentary has pondered out loud whether treason has been. There's been no treason. I mean, look at this. If we're going to hold Donald Trump to this standard, then George Bush needs to be brought up on war crimes, and Dick Cheney, and his father, and Obama, and Clinton. And then once we get through that, then go ahead and talk to Big Don. But right now, I mean, this guy has done absolutely nothing in comparison to what those criminals have done. And this is just, I mean, you want to talk about straight up propaganda that's just running into a brick wall and doesn't work? That's what's going on. That's the real. See, people have learned a long time ago that this was the case, that they can't trust the mainstream media, and they've gone to independent media and or they've decided to research these subjects themselves. You know, either utilizing the independent media or doing their own research. And as a result of the internet and the ability to freely investigate this stuff, they found out that it's a bunch of bunk. It's crap. It's garbage. It's manufactured. It's manufactured to create a matrix that gives people this idea that their existence is something that it's really not. Case in point, you hear the mainstream media all the time vilify Venezuela, say, oh, yeah, they've done away with freedom of the press and everything else. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. There's been independent media reporters that have gone down there and have read the paper over the air, read all the papers, opposition and otherwise, to show that, no, that's not what's going on. We're getting the wrong story. You know, I'm a veteran. I spent time over in the Gulf and over in the in the Mediterranean, and I can tell you that during those times, what they said existed over in the Gulf and what they said and what was actually going on in the Gulf were two totally different things. It was all spewed garbage. And over the course of time, people have come to not trust the mainstream. What Brian Williams? I mean, look at that. How many people do we have to show or highlight to show you that these prostitutes aren't in it for the truth? They don't follow the 2 golden rules. Number 1, always follow the truth because the truth is a story. Number 2, don't enter into any entangling alliances that would prevent you from following rule number 1, a la Joe Scarborough and, I'm not part of the GOP anymore. Why are you part of the GOP? You're a journalist. You shouldn't be part of anything. You should be totally and completely impartial. Oh, excuse me. You see, that's where we've really gone off the rails, is that journalists now are not. Again, they're prostitutes. They're pretty faces on TV, and they're selected for their pretty faces. And then after that, guess what happens? They do what they're told, they read a teleprompter, and they get paid, and they go home. And that's what they do. It's Hollywood. And unfortunately, it's backfiring on them. And just like a baby whose toy was taken away, they're throwing a tantrum. And eventually, the mainstream media will lose all of their power, and a new media will arise from it. Whether it be independent or otherwise, it will be another media that goes and takes a place, and I can only hope and pray when that does, that there's more journalistic integrity. Because right now, there's absolutely none in the mainstream media. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great day.